Bliss, DM/DFT and check-in, which is interesting because I think it's also my first DM and DF check-in, and I've been meaning to do those for a while, but they just have not hit the right timing to do it. So that's fine. Also, I want to note it is 12:49 right now, which is a 7, and it's like, yes, this is good momentum. And I feel like I've been being like, I don't want to say hit, but being plucked like a guitar with different strings and placements to where I'm getting all these messages in about like the Twin Flame Collective going on, or rather, I should say the collectives that I'm a part of, which again, I reference back to what I said in the absurdity of breathing video about how it's all kind of a Venn diagram. Like, we'll have multiple collectives that we're a part of. And I think while I definitely do not promote getting like obsessively stuck on a ton of different tarot videos, it is good to have, I want to say, two, three, four ish different readers that you check in with that are connected to different collectives, because you can see patterns of what's going on, and it can kind of give you an idea of what's definitely for at least everyone in your tribe versus what is just for you, or that is in a kind of it's connected but it's in a different yellow brick road sort of thing. um, in any case, there's some big energy. Hi, Elizabeth. There's some big energy that I'm feeling coming in, and I'm not going to use the cards. I'm just going to go intuitively, which is really all we're doing with the cards. It's more, for me, it's like I usually already know kind of what I think is going to come up, but using the cards adds an element that removes my control over what I think it is. But I'm really enjoying, one, not taking things so seriously, and two, just I love this absurdity of seeing if I'm as correct about things as I am with the cards. So why not? And some of the big energy I'm seeing is a lot of 360s. And there's a video that I intend to do, maybe I'll do it next, talking about 360 energy. It's about spiral cycles. And for me, seeing 360s, and most especially I've seen an absurd amount of rainbows lately, in person even, because I'm in the car and I pulled over to do this message for y'all. Do you have a problem with me having my safety belt on? Actually, it's kind of funny because I've always been horrible about wearing my seatbelt, and it was something that my DM would get on me about. And after he left, I really started making a bigger effort to wear my seatbelt, not just because he had wanted me to, but for myself, for a self loving thing. And also because I recognized that was one of the many ways that he would say I love you without saying I love you. And it really, I felt bad that I took that for granted, and it was much more to do with a father wound that I had than anything he was doing. And it's funny because there's a billboard, I do door dashing in the city that he lives in, and there's a billboard that's like talks about like, make sure, keep bugging them until they wear it. Safety matters. And it's just, to me, it's like a little message from my DM of going to put your seatbelt on. I mean, he would literally like wait to move the darn car until I had my seatbelt on, and it was adorable in many ways. And so now I wear my seatbelt, and I even thought about taking it off before this video, and I was like, no, I'm gonna leave my seatbelt on. So it's funny that you're noticing it. I didn't think anybody would really notice or care, but anyways, that is definitely a pattern of stuff coming up, though, is that for those of you that have been in separation, whether you're communicating in 3D with them or not, you're probably going to start noticing a lot of synchronicities and signs. They might come in through friends or family. Um, yeah, this car yells at me too, but sometimes I still ignore it. It's fun because it's a choice now. Like, it's like I could very well just ignore it. I don't mind the little ding. I can turn up the music. I can do that stuff. But then I stop and I go, but wait a minute. Didn't I make a commitment to myself to wear my seatbelt? Not just because it reminds me of my DM loving me, but because I love myself. And I really don't want to be one of those people that goes shooting through the windshield and ends up on some TV report that they didn't wear their seatbelt. Plus, it's also a lesson that, I mean, I've tried to help teach my DM, and I teach our boys, is that, sometimes in life you have a choice. You can either do something because you choose to do it, and then you have control over when you do it, how you do it, and why you do it, and how you feel when you do it. Or you can let life like beat you up about it. And I've had enough no seatbelt tickets in my life, which I still think is ludicrous because the libertarian side of me is like, you really should not have any authority over what I'm doing inside my car unless it is creating a danger to other people around me. And I drive like a grandma, so those things are, yeah. Um, but in any case, so 360 is a big energy that I'm seeing, especially today. It's been slowly building over the last couple of months. And to me, that is the ending of an old cycle and the beginning of a new cycle, and especially when it comes to karmic cycles. So what I'm sensing is that both DFs and DMs are coming to the end of old cycles and starting new cycles. There will still be some overlap, just like with Venn diagrams. This is definitely a funny absurdity in terms of patterns going on. And it's funny because the mixture of stuff coming in is telling me that, so there's this big energy about things that have never been done and things that have never been said and things that, it's like things that have been thought about or known about, mostly things that have been hidden, good things and bad things, like, you know, and also this big urge to be vulnerable, which is part of the collective spiral cycle pattern that seems to go on about this time of year when we shift from Pisces into Aries. And I'm getting a couple of senses now. I'm curious, for those of you that either are on this timeline or end up on this timeline, please comment later because I'm really enjoying seeing what sort of feedback comes in. But I'm getting the sense that if it hasn't happened already, it's very likely that there's going to be a lot of noise. There's going to be a lot of communication coming in. And what I'm getting the sense of is that DMs especially, like, so DFs have been already choosing to do things differently than they've done them before. And say one of my favorite tribe sisters and I talk about, like, we'll be faced with a situation that's like we've been through many times, and it's like, well, we could do it the same way as we've always done it, but why not just do something radically different? Like, even, you know, break your own rules. You don't have to break your own morals, but break your own rules. Do something radically different and just see what happens. See how it changes things, creates little ripple effects and stuff. And I have a feeling it's likely, even if it's only up here or in here, you've been doing that. And obviously, if the person that you're thinking of is your twin, whether you're DF or DM, they've been feeling that and doing that too. And I want to say it's very likely that you've already seen some kind of confirmation of them doing something that they've never done before. And I have a feeling that what's about to happen, especially for those in twin flame separation situations, is that you're likely about to start getting a lot of communications that are not from your twin, but that are about your twin. And that, oh, thank you. I love glowing. I'm glowing up. See, like a literal glowing. Also, I've been going through this weird, like, spiritual pregnancy energy, like a heart baby. And so it's interesting to have the actual glowing thing going on. See, I'm glowing. Oh. I'm also feeling really good too because my naturopath hooked me up with some cortisol. It's like the stress hormone manager sort of thing, and it's helping a lot. And I'm glad that I asked for assistance with that. Do a video on that. Yeah, you know, maybe I will do a video on that. In any case, like that energy, also that birthing energy and heart babies and things like that is definitely a part of the pattern. And what I'm getting the sense of is that for those of you who may not have been hearing much of anything, and like, say you're DF, you've been working on yourself, you've been glowing up, you've been doing your own thing, and you've not been hearing from your DM, but you've been having a spiritual labor of sorts going on. It's funny, the song on the radio, Mary J. Blige, whole damn year, right? If you're going to be going through a whole damn year of labor pains, it's likely that spiritual baby is birthing right now and or just been born, and you're going to start hearing things. I sense that it's part of it is hearing things from people that are not connected at all, that really don't know anything, and you're just going to be hearing things from them that really remind you of your twin or remind you of certain parts in your own spiral cycle with them, and kind of give you an indication of where you are on the map of your journey with them and what sort of backward, forward, evolved recycles that you're going to be going through with them. And it's so funny. I feel like what I want to say is very clear in my head, but every time I go to speak it, other things come out. And what that tells me is that that is a sign in and of itself, is that it's likely, especially if you've either not been in communication at all with your twin, or it's been very emotionally constipated, or instead of having good conversations with you, it turns into arguments or things like that, that right now they are trying to communicate with you, but that's happening to them. Like every time they go to just simply say, I'm sorry for all of this shit, other stuff comes out. Or they are still trying to figure out, wow, they're still trying to figure out like a situation that for them feels like a long ass train. And every time they go to talk to you or come to connect to you, that's cool. Every time they go to talk to you, it feels like a train rolls in, like the circus, like a train rolls in with a circus on it, blowing its horn and making loud noises. And every time, like, I really get the sense that for a lot of you, you're going to have some kind of unexpected visit, call, text, like all sorts of things from your twin soon, especially if you bossed up and told them about themselves and have been glowing up and doing your own thing and just doing fantastic with it. Like, they've been wanting to communicate with you, and they've been wanting to reach out, but there's been it's like as if you're both standing on either side of train tracks, and they know they want to cross those tracks and come over to you, but every time they go to do it, a train comes through the middle. And part of that is their own karma. They took you for granted, and they treated it like they could come back in whenever they wanted, and you probably participated in that, and you meant it. But now there's this energy going on that they have to come correct, and the ways that they came at you in the past will no longer work, not because you wouldn't, it's not like you wouldn't see through it and be able to go, all right, we can work on this. It's actually spirit. It's their guides. Like their guides and your guides are talking, and they're like constantly taking your twin's vitals sort of and going, let's see, are they ready now, or are they ready not? Like, I get the sense that a fair amount of you, see, there's so many messages. Let me finish the first one. The first one is that you're likely to hear things about your twin that you were not expecting to hear. For some of you, this will be good stuff, like that. It'll be good. What I'm getting the sense of is it's yin and it's yang. It's light and it's shadow. It's good and it's bad. You're likely to hear about maybe when you were with your twin, they actually were cheating on you and you didn't know about it, but you had a sense about it and they hid it. And it might be that somebody that wants to make sure you guys don't reconnect because they're on the end of your DM. It's seeing that they cannot break your DM of their feelings for you. No matter how much noise they make, no matter how many trains they bring in, they cannot seem to break that. Even if the DM is like acting very loyal to a karmic situation or anything like that, no matter what they do, they cannot seem to break it. They cannot seem to cause a permanent rupture. They can't seem to, even if you've been distant and been like, I ain't playing with you until you get your shit right, they are, well, we do kind of have the same guides. We have some separate guides and we have the same guides also. And funny enough, the song on the radio, Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You, and it's 1:03 p.m., which is 4. So I'm going to take that as a confirmation that, like, yes, especially the DMs are kind of in this energy of, like, they will always love you, and they've got people on their end who have been trying to keep them from giving into that, and you probably know these people. I know in my own story, there's been a ton of people that have always been jealous of the kind of relationship that we've had, especially the kind of love that I give to my DM, and they've been trying to interfere with it for years. And it wasn't until I really wanted to glow up and not have the toxic cycles coming in that were often coming in because of stuff they would say to him and kick in. That's funny. Maybe somebody will kick in a door. I don't know. But that would kick up his insecurities, especially if it related to anything that remotely looked like stuff going on in former relationships he had with karmics that were very traumatizing for him. Um, but I have a feeling that those, you know, I'm going to say one or many of those same people are seeing the DM like, it's funny. I have a feeling that for most DMs in this collective I'm sensing, they're not even showing that they're thinking about you or that they're making moves to go towards you, but they're making moves. Oh, that's funny. I can see a pineapple sticker on a white van. Well, not it's not a van, it's an SUV. It's a Highlander, but it reminds me of SpongeBob SquarePants. So I don't know if that's relevant for you or not, but it may be that your DM in their heart and in their mind is thinking about all the fun and absurdity that they have had with you, and they've tried to recreate that in other situations, and that is something very unique between you and them. Like, they can have fun with other people in different ways, but not in that way. And so maybe the tune in their heart right now is kind of that living a pineapple under the sea, SpongeBob SquarePants. But what I'm getting the sense of is that while they're keeping their feelings for you in their heart, that they are making moves that obviously either you are doing or suggested to them, and others know that, like, they might not even know that the moves that the DMs are making are things that either you suggested or you were like, you told them, like, your life is freaking messy and boundaryless, so maybe they're having boundaries and they're really working on self-care and glowing up. And if you're the type of person who works on manifestation and self-care and self-help and stuff like that, even if the DM genuinely was not thinking of you in doing that stuff, all those karmics who have, like, I mean, it's taken a circus of them to separate you and keep you separated. Those same karmics are now feeling like they are losing the DM in their collective. And as long as the DM is in a good mood and happy and doing things, it actually scares them. But this is good and bad, because the DM is likely going to notice, especially if you're in a period of no contact, that it was never the connection to you that was holding them back, that these people that they have been around, they like the DM being sad and mad and reactive because they are more malleable, they are more controllable. When you are in a reactive state, it is very easy to control you. Even if you're the type of person that does the opposite of what somebody tells you to do, it's super easy to manipulate you into doing things. All you got to do is tell the person to do the opposite of what you want them to do, and then they do it. It's not that hard, and the unfortunate thing is a lot of genuinely good people don't recognize it. And a lot of DMs have just simply not had the experience in life to have the maturity level to recognize when somebody is doing that to them. But I have a feeling that, especially if you've been feeling fairly good, regardless of what good or bad absurdities have been going on around you, that your DM is noticing that and feeling that. And I don't give a crap how good they make the rest of their lives look. They are definitely lurking on you and spying on you, most especially if they're not communicating with you, which is hard for them. And they got to relieve that pressure in some way. They might drive by your house or your work, or they might watch videos that you do, or check out your social media, or try to, like, kind of covertly get information through people that are like mutual acquaintances. They're doing it. And if you are focusing on glowing up and not worrying about any sort of romantic connections of any kind, it's likely that they are also doing the same thing. They're following your lead. And song on the radio now, John Legend, "You Move, I Move," right? Which also reminds me of that old song, "When I move, you move, just like that. When I move, you move, just like that," right? And there's also been this energy of that song, was it by Ludacris? "Move, bitch, get out the way," right? Um, oh, look at that. I'm seeing 222, which is usually a sign from your twin saying, "I love you." And I'm matching you, and, you know. In any case, yeah, so, wow, it's taking so long to get one part of this message out. What it really feels like is that there are some bad actors in between you and your twin, and they don't want you guys to connect. They don't want you to speak. They don't want you to talk. They don't want you to do readings. They don't want you to apologize. They don't want you to co-parent. They don't want you to be friends. They don't want any of it because, well, it's funny. It's really silly. Like, for them, it feels like they're losing a resource if they lose the DM, who, when they keep them down in Dark Night of Soul energy, will generally give in to whatever it is that they want. Because a lot of these DMs genuinely don't want fighting, and they don't want conflict, and they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and they hate hurting your feelings, but they also feel like you at least, you know, when they're ready, you'll forgive them, whereas these other people likely give no indication of that. And see so many things coming in. It actually, what's funny is what it feels like is that for a lot of you, even that you've had twins, especially DMs, who have been like giving you indications that they're leaving the situation. They hate the situation. They want to be free. They want to connect with you, but it's been very in and out energy, very breadcrumbs slash Easter eggs. Like, one minute they're all about being vulnerable and reconnecting and doing the right thing, and then the next minute it's all your fault and you're just trying to control them, and it's weird. Like, if that's been the situation, it's likely that when they've said they want to reconnect, when they've said they want to be done with the karmic carnival they're in, that has been very, very genuine. However, the karmic slash karmics that they've been involved with, which is mostly thoughts in their own head than people. The people are just manifestations of those thoughts and fears and insecurities, but the actual people there have some kind of blackmail on them. They have, and it could be made up, it could be real, it could simply be like vulnerabilities that the masculine shared with them. 1:11 on the clock and 2:21:31 on the clock, so 7 and 3, which is 10, Wheel of Fortune. Yes, so in order for the DMs who in karmic situations to get free of their situations, the really big challenge is that they gave away a lot of their power to these karmics when they were in a vulnerable space and trying to do what they thought was the right thing in separating themselves from you. And now they have to kind of go through the opposite of that in order to free themselves, which I have a sense most of them have actually already done. But there's still this little cat mouse thing going on, except for now it's cat. It's like jaguar versus panther, or panther versus tiger, or tiger versus lion. Like, I've been seeing in fact I've been seeing a lot of synchronicities of lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, right? Like, it's literally one of those, there's some sort of way that they need to be courageous. They need to stop being the mouse and be the predator, and not be the kind of predator that goes hunting things down, but simply be willing to stand up for themselves, to face the consequences of their actions, and to say, you know what, I'm following my heart no matter what y'all think about it. And those of you who are good for me and love me, you will understand and support me, and those of you who do not and are not good for me, well, y'all can just peace out. I'm no longer interested in placating and holding on to these situations simply because you might say something shitty about me, or because some truth might come out. And I have a feeling, most especially for those of you that have been in a connection where you finally got tired of the back and forth, or you saw that truth needed to be spoken, and you lit into, or as Taylor Ray 777, one of my favorite readers, says, you might have popped off at the mouth, and told them about themselves. And you can really seriously injure somebody with the deep truths that you share, especially because they're true, because you're not making shit up. Like, you're really literally showing them themselves, and that can really cut them open. And if you did that, then it's very likely that they're kind of been at this almost rock bottom place where they feel like they ain't got nothing left to lose. Like, if my DF sees me as so messy and unsafe and just in such a crappy way, then why do I give a crap about what anybody else thinks of me at this point in time? Go ahead. I kind of hear this conversation like, go ahead and tell her what I did. Go for it. See where it gets you. You know, or go ahead. Like, what do I got to lose? I've already lost everything. I've already lost the most important connection. I've already done this. I've already done that. I'm already hitting rock bottom. I'm already losing the house or the apartment or the investment, and my money's not been good, and it's been falling apart since I left, and things have not gone well unless I've done what she said anyways. So, like, go ahead. Go ahead and tell her. Go ahead and start a fight. Go ahead and do this and that. And that leads me back to what I was saying, is that it feels like this energy that for those of you that have been doing good and focusing on yourselves and opening yourselves up to new opportunities and just saying, you know what, what's meant to be for me will come to me in the proper way, and what isn't, Spirit will help me release any sort of grief or feelings that go along with losing what I thought was a long-lasting connection. That you're going to have people coming into you likely in mass. I've really been seeing, I mean, this is collective, so it's not just twin flame, but a lot of like incoming communications, just like texts, calls, visits, just all sorts of things, maybe even letters and stuff in the mail. That it's so funny. I feel like somebody does not want people to know this. It's weird. Like, I know it, but why can't I speak it? It feels like you're likely going to get communications from karmics that are more karmics on your twins end, your DMs end. Some of them are going to share truths with you that you're not going to want to believe, and you should, because it'll help you go through certain bits of shadow work, and it'll help you clarify, kind of continue to clarify, like, the person you think is your twin, even if they are your twin, do you really want to move forward in this lifetime with them in actual union? You might not want to, and that's okay. And if you do, then it's stuff that you need to know about before you move forward, so that the air is clear, the dirty laundry's been laid out, there are no secrets anymore. And I had 115 on the radio. 7 again. I'm seeing 7 viewers, right? 7. So there's momentum of this communication coming in, and it's, I think, it's like for some of you, it's going to be, I feel like it's going to be a lot of people. It's going to be karmics who are trying to make sure that you won't take the DM back, because they're seeing that no matter what you do, even sharing harsh truths that break them, they still love you. In fact, they probably love you more, because you're probably one of the only people that can tell them things like that, speak to them that way, or I don't know, there's just something different about your connection with them, and they see it. And likely, if there has been a big disconnect, especially before this new year astrologically, I want to say, look back to, oh, that's the other synchronicity, Valentine's Day. Think about what happened around Valentine's Day, both this year, 2021, and last year, 2020. Whatever happened on those 2 moments between you and your twin, or even just for you and yourself, that is very significant right now. It's a really interesting thing to be coming up. But whatever happened on Valentine's Day in one or both of those is very significant right now. And what I'm getting the sense of is that DMs especially are really exploring their feelings about your union, and like what they're doing, kind of what you're doing, really thinking about why them, what is it about them, because I know what I feel. I know that I feel this inexplicable love for them, but what's the logic in it, and because there's definitely consequences that are going to come. And I just saw the clock hit 28 exactly, which is 10. Like, it's going to create a wheel of fortune, a divine timing moment. It's going to create some spins. There's going to be people who are talking about it. And even if right now your DM is doing good in like getting single, so they can actually do some real healing, and I'm seeing on the radio a song called Pieces of Me, like they're really learning to call themselves back to themselves, that's scaring karmics, because the real thing that scared the karmics in their lives was not actually you. It is what you represented. Because if the DM actually was to trust themselves, have faith in themselves, get out of the box that people have kept them in forever, and glow up and succeed, then it's not even that they would be disloyal or let go of the friends that they've had, or the karmics, or the exes, or the family, but those people don't want to grow. They don't want to be seen in those ways. They don't want the expectations or responsibilities that come with genuine abundance and goodness and missions and healing. So instead of saying, you know what, well, it's okay, you go do your thing, I support you, I'm really glad that you're doing really well, or just going, you know what, maybe we're not on the same path. Instead, they're in another dimension. So they go, no, we got to stop DM. We got to stop them from doing this. We got to stop them from being so happy. Stop that laughing. I can't remember, was that from Lion King? Stop that laughing. My DM and I used to laugh about that all the time. but they're really afraid of that. So even if you're not in the picture, what they get the sense of is your energy. And so even if you literally, like, I mean, say you might be interacting with a soulmate, or you might be like taking a road trip, you might not be talking to your DM or DF at all, and yet it's the energy that the DM is in that is scaring the karmics and going, wait a minute, this has to have something to do with DM or DF. It has to. They're only ever in this energy when they're involved. And that's triggering, especially any karmics they've been in situationships with. I really have a strong sense that both DMs and DFs are very single right now. But they might still be under the same roof with karmics and karmic situationships. And so those karmics were still hoping to rekindle things, or at least hold on to the situation, because they may have assumed that they didn't need to set themselves up with anything else, especially because especially a lot of DMs have been in toxic feminine energy and just overgiving in the generosity. And a lot of the karmics really don't give a crap whether it's like, I want to give to you, or I'm giving to you so that you will leave me alone, or you won't be dramatic, or you won't tell my secrets and things like that. And it feels like with this Aries energy coming in, most especially if the twin that I'm referring to, that you're recognizing, has some very strong Aries placements, like moon, rising, north or south node, things like that, like they're really, really feeling this energy to start new, to break free. In fact, that song has been coming to me. It's a Queen song, and it's, I want to break free. Oh, how I want to break free, right? That seems very much, it's both DM and DF, but I'm sensing that DMs are especially feeling it, because I'm sensing that DFs are already feeling free. Like, whatever it is, I'm already free. What do I need to do it? But that's making DMs really want to be free. They want to break free of it. And this is kind of that energy of things that have never been done before, things that have never been said before. Like, they've thought about being free of all of the old BS, of all of the old boxes, of all of the old expectations, all of it, but they've never done it. They've never allowed themselves to make moves that would really set themselves free, and now they're really doing it. And it's likely, if they like blocked you with no explanation, or if you were supposed to be either working something out, say co-parenting or child support or anything like that, and you just suddenly there was no communication, maybe that's even what triggered the fight energy or whatever stuff that you told them about themselves. That it's very likely that when that happened, that was a new thing for them already, to block it or cut it off. And that created a domino effect for them of starting to do all sorts of new things that they've thought about it, and they've just not done it. They've not spoken it. They've been afraid that if they think about it for too long, or if they speak about it, or if they write it down too much, that it'll become real, and they're not ready for it. Now they're kind of in this energy of like, well, fuck it. Like, everything else is already, it's all towers, so what the fuck I got to lose, and it's funny, because sometimes I might even say, excuse my French, but I'm not even feeling like that energy. Like, if you don't like swearing, then watch the videos. And that feels very much like a DF DM energy, but more so DMs, because DFs are just delighting in the absurdity of it all. And whereas DMs seem like they're very much in this energy of, even if they're not admitting it to themselves, the idea of cutting themselves off from you, especially if they did it, if you didn't cut them off, they cut you off. Like, that is so hard for them. That's so hard for them, especially if they've been very codependent or player-like or in and out or like non-committal. Like, that feels like a commitment for them, and they don't like that commitment. They know they need to make that commitment with other people in their lives. They need to cut off other people. Instead, they cut off you. And even if in the moment they felt righteous about that, now they're in this energy of knowing that was completely messed up and that it was not the appropriate thing to do, especially because they're recognizing that they allowed this hot mess to happen. And so now DMs are kind of in this energy, especially if you've been in separation for like a year or more, and you had union with them before that separation. And I'm seeing 1, 2, 3 on the clock. They're like, they probably don't know it, but they're actually in this kind of Easterish energy. And today is Ostara, so it totally makes sense with the eggs and rabbits and energy in there, that they're starting to recognize that you actually left them a lot of breadcrumbs in the form of Easter eggs. And what it is positive thinking about themselves. You know, always think good things about you. Always be proud of yourself. Don't let anybody else steal your wins or your triumphs. Not even me when I'm in a horrible mood. Like, don't ever let anybody steal your wins. You do you. You follow your heart. You do what feels right for you, even if everybody else is telling you it's wrong. Even if I'm telling you it's wrong, you do you. I'm seeing 124 on the clock, 7, and 7 on the likes. So again, and that'd be 17, the star, wishes manifested. And so they're really embodying this energy of trying new things, doing new things, listening to those more positive voices in them, recognizing where they have succeeded and recognizing where they have failed. And really, instead of taking those failures as, oh, I'm just a big failure, now they're in this energy of recognizing you don't ever actually fail. You succeed or you learn. And so they're learning the lessons, they're recognizing, especially if you or them put an end to your old cycle of that in and out energy. And so them being in that energy is scaring the crap out of the karmics around them. And I really get this sense that it's quite a wide audience, people they work with, people they live with, people in their family, people they've been friends with for a while, people, new friends, new roommates, karmic lovers, children, like all sorts of things. And they're like being hit with a ton of resistance. That's funny on the radio. It's Usher, bad girl. I'm a bad girl. I used to tease my masculine about that. It's like, oh yeah, you want me to be the villain? Okay, well, I'll go ahead and be a bad girl. Right? Like from Aladdin, you bad boy. Um, and I am also seeing a lot of references to Aladdin and also Never Ending Story and Little Mermaid. And what was the other one that was interesting? Let's see, Rocky Horror Picture Show and the movie Big Fish and the movie, what is it? How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. There's been a couple of more. I'm sure they'll come to me if they're relevant and meant to be in this video. Um, but yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of people that have been depending on DMs to stay in low vibes because that's where they can control them and take advantage of them and dictate which direction that they will go in, or kind of at least keep them, you know, like you will only travel along one of these 3 timelines. You can still have a choice, but you can't have a choice that's outside of those timelines. And DMs are now, I want to say, reflecting energy of their DFs and going, yeah, no, I can do what I want. I do what I want. You don't like it? That's on you. It's your responsibility to manage your feelings, not mine. Um, and so that's kind of giving this energy that you might start feeling a lot of energy coming towards you that is in all sorts of different ways. I have a feeling they're also communicating with people. Some of them you know mutually and others you don't. I'm seeing 37 on the clock. And they're saying good things. Like they're getting information about, like, what would you do in this situation, what do you think she means by this, and what do you think I could do if I wanted to fix it, you know, things like that. And so you're probably, if you're in the other end of, you're not getting any communication or contact and you're not seeing them on a regular basis, and you kind of, other than intuition and readings like this, you don't really know what's going on. If you're feeling like this kind of emotional roller coaster of feelings, that kind of like laborious pain, sometimes you feel great and excited and other times you just feel like drop, just, you know, you're anxious and you're feeling dark and things like that. That's because, one, that's the energy that your DM is going through, or your twin, if you're feeling like this all resonates more with your DF doing this. And it's also the energy that they are experiencing going on from others around them. And those same people, especially any karmics who know who you are, or they're probably watching your stuff, like your social media, your videos, things like that, and they really want you to go away. They want you to be quiet. They don't want the connection out there. And, you know, and it's not even, at this point, it's not even so much about they don't want you to connect with your DM or DF. It's that they don't want you to succeed because they're quite envious and quite jealous that you have community, that you're doing as well as you're doing. And even if you're just all by yourself, that you can do it by yourself. A lot of people that have been very codependent or believe that they have to be able to manipulate other people in order to have what they want are going to be very jealous and envious that you don't need to do that. That you don't, that you're just you and you're enjoying yourself and it's going well. I'm really seeing that community card, and then the action card, but it's in reverse and upright. So you might have this like feeling to take action and then not, or like you feel like you don't want to take action but you need to do something, but very Jello-ish sort of thing. um, and it's likely that that's going to increase as you get these communications, which again, I don't know why we're flipping around and not focusing on that, other than I think this is what it's kind of what they don't want you to see coming, is you're likely to get some communications from karmics and from, you know what I'm going to say, and from friends, like people that you either might not know are in your soul tribe, or simply momentary soulmates whose contract in this lifetime with you was to provide you with this good information. So you're likely to hear some good and bad things, like maybe that your DM was more disloyal than you thought when you knew that it was happening, and either you called for separation, or when they left, you let it go. It's likely to be that anything that you knew was being lied about, you're going to have confirmation that it was a lie, including if they were saying that they didn't care about you or didn't want to be with you, and they do. You're likely to get communications from karmics who really want to make sure that even if you do get back together, that it's even more hard for DMs or DFs in those situations. And so it's likely that they're going to find various different ways between direct communication and indirect communication to try to give you a bad outlook on. Some people are having soulmates come in. Yes, Claire. I just say you can ask others in the room too, but yes, that is happening. And I saw 4111 on the clock 7. That might also be communication that's coming in. I think what I want to say is be cautious, because I've been seeing a pattern of energy of like people coming in who seem like soulmates, and they really seem to connect with you in really good ways, and they are actually being sent by karmics, or they're being sent by twins who either want to test things, or their karmics told them to test it. And so be careful, because some of them could actually be false soulmates, I suppose, to put it in there. But you're gonna know. You're gonna know. I mean, that's the nice thing when you're on this journey. If you're at a level where soulmates are coming in, whether they're false soulmates or actual soulmates, you're gonna know the difference, and that's gonna be like one of the next things that has your twin falling in love with you, that you don't fall for crap like that. And whenever it happens and you deny it or turn it down, like, in fact, I'm getting the sense that some of you might get some extra communications from people on different social medias that, like, it's likely from people that you've never met before, or you don't realize you've met them before, and it seems like they're offering a situation that's like catered to you, like very synchronistic, and how interesting is this? And you're likely to, like, even in the moment, if you're like, yeah, that feels really great, I'm gonna go for that, something will, you just feel like, nah, I don't know. And you're like, I would rather work on my coint, or I would rather work on my health, or I would rather go play with my kids, or I'd rather go for a hike in the woods. And if that connection is really a soulmate connection, it'll be there when I get back. I'm not going to worry about it, because you've really been healing any anxious attachment or codependence or things like that. And you won't even likely know that that is more significant than it, and I'm seeing 18, the moon. But because you're just being you, and that you're in that healthy, emotionally secure place, that's going to backfire on whomever likely set it up like that. And the song that just came on the radio, Boys to Men, on Bended Knee, and now it's 1:33. So aside from the rhyme in there making it extra synchronistic, this feels like it's right on target. And so, I mean, follow your heart. Do whatever feels natural to you. And 43. Don't worry about what anybody else is going to think about it. And if you get communications coming in about your twin, what I'm going to say is, no matter whether it is a situation where, like, you might be propositioned, your twin might say, I really want to go out on a date. Or somebody might, if somebody's telling you stuff that, what's funny is there might be truths that come in and you feel like you don't want to believe it. And the truth is that what they're sharing with you is truth, but the reason that they're sharing it with you is not truthful, it's not righteous, and it really, in the long scheme of things, doesn't matter much. And I'm seeing, it's funny, an RV that has the name Outlaw on it, and it's likely that whomever is sharing unfortunate truths with you is doing it because it's a confirmation that those situationships are ending. 440, 44, 44 on there. Somebody said the other day they called them situationships, and I really liked that version of it. Like, so if you're getting communications, whether they are good or bad, or you're even if you're getting communications from soulmates, especially any that may be coming in towards you and saying that they've been out of an unfortunate situationship for a while and are now feeling ready to really like come out and play, all of those are positive indications that that is also going on with your twin. And so, take any good or bad news coming in as a positive indication. I'm saying 8 and 8, which is 16, which is Tower. It's enlightenment. It's that, all right, I'm seeing what's going on in the spiral cycle, right? And it may also be like if that stuff doesn't work, or if said karmics who are thinking to try that don't believe that it will work as well to like try to crap talk your DM to you or spread it through the gossip vine and things like that. They might try to share some things that DM has shared about you, and try to put that out there. And again, like all this, you're divinely protected. So just let whatever it is that these angry clowns are going to do, let them do it. Because, for one thing, that which you resist persists, which is definitely a way that you can tell, like, if your DM has been resistant to just be natural with you, or they blocked you, or your DF or anything like that, they are in resistant energy towards the connection, and that which resists persists. And also remember that rejection is protection. So if they are rejecting you, it's not like you're not the reject. They're not rejecting you. They're actually protecting you. They might not know it, but they are. And it's also a form of self-protection also, especially because you're probably completely righteous in being upset about whatever you might be upset about. Um, in any case, yeah, I'm seeing so many messages coming in. Some people trying to throw you off your path. Some people who aren't really even connected to any of it, but they're there to bring up any cobweb shadow work that you might need to do in order to prepare you for incoming union. Others who are just kind of pawns along the way. They're just gossips. They it's not a good or a bad thing. They're like Paul Revere. They just spread the news that they hear. If they think that it's good or bad, they're going to tell you right away. Or they'll just tell you, and that's just incoming communication. It's like, try to be in a place of not taking things so darn seriously. Like, even if you have a moment where you hear something that is genuinely very crushing, like, feel those feelings. You're human. You don't have to constantly be in love and light. Spirituality isn't about not having icky feelings. It's about having a healthier way to process them and feel them and be able to understand the greater purposes of them. Well, what greater purposes you want for them to mean, things like that. It's like, now you could get communications from your twin's family, or karmics that they've been in situationships with, and it could be stuff that otherwise would make you super pissed, and you'd be like, no, I'm totally freaking done with that. And you could take it that way. That could be fine. You could say that's a deal breaker, twin or not, I don't ever want to do stuff with them again. But wouldn't it just be so fun instead to go, oh man, thanks for the confirmation that they're totally getting free from you? Because, honey, if things aren't working out with them, it really has very little to do with me. Because if you had a happy, healthy relationship that you wanted to be in and they wanted to be in, then it wouldn't matter whether they loved me and wanted to be with me or not. They'd stay in it. You'd stay in it. There wouldn't be fighting. There wouldn't be problems. There wouldn't be karmic carnivals. Like, that stuff, like, twin flames are very unique in that. Like, if you find a soulmate and you're genuinely happy with them and it's fulfilling and you like it, you're not going to leave it for that just to go back to your twin, especially a twin that you've had a tumultuous relationship with. Yes, eventually you might end up saying, you know what, as much as I love you and I love this relationship, I do love them more and I want to work it out with them, and I choose the contrast that comes along with having that union with them. But it's not going to be a relationship that you're constantly fighting in. So if it's good, it's because it's good between you guys. If it's not good, it's not the outer twins' fault. I mean, even if you were being dramatic and doing things to instigate stuff, it can only do something to someone's relationship if there is already that energy there. If it's already unhealthy, you can't make it unhealthier. You can only trigger that which is already unhealthy. And if it's healthy, again, if you're triggering something, the healthiness of that relationship will be the dominant energy. If it's a high vibe relationship, it's going to be good. It's going to survive anything that comes in, including twin flames. If it's a low vibe relationship or a karmic relationship that's not meant to last, then that's how it's going to go, no matter whether that twin is around or not. And it's also a good reason for those of you that have been healing anxious attachment and really like releasing that feeling of needing that 3D connection with your twin. Like, I did a little divine nugget about, like, you could control it, but do you really want to? It's also on the other lines of that is like, you could control it, but wouldn't it just be so much more fun and delightfully delicious if you just let them do their thing and let it fall apart all on its own? And during that whole time, like, unbeknownst to them, karmics are completely reminding your twins of you. Especially because when things don't work out, typically you will see that karmics will try to recreate emotional strings that they had, that your twin had with you. And the more that they do that in their desperation to like hold back their insecurities and stuff, they're likely to just remind your twin of you. In any case, I don't know, I might do some more cardless readings on this later, but I think for right now I'm gonna leave this here. It's funny because the song on the radio now is "It's Gonna Rain," and it is raining now. So I'm getting the sense that means, well, it's 1:41 on the radio clock, which is 6, and it's also a reflection. So it's likely that this stuff is coming in. So expect communications coming in, and expect the unexpected, and be comfortable whether they come in 3D or 5D, and decide what kind of reality you want to have. Do you want to embrace absurdity and not take things so darn seriously? Or do you want to be ultra serious and all about, like, it has to go this way and, oh, red flags and right? You get to decide. All right, anyways, I will be back on later. I think I'm going to do some cardless readings for the next maybe 24 and 48 and 72. I don't know. We'll see. Someone, he's like, yeah, turn off the phone. You could turn off the phone. I'd almost say, why not leave it on and see what absurdity ensues? It might be fun. You never know. But you could turn it off, because there's been a lot of energy also of DMs trying to reach out to DFs, and I'm getting the sense that part of it is because it's 1:42 on the clock now. Part of it is because they don't want you to, like, they know that because they're freeing themselves from said situationships, that there's going to be a lot of drama, and a lot of it with the intention of ruining your love for them or making you mad or doing things like that. It's really weird. I'm seeing a plate that says Cordero, and I don't know what that means. Anyways, lots of communication coming in, and that's what it was. There's been a lot of synchronicities between, like, freshly freed DMs who are like, they're like, fuck you, you can say whatever you want, but then they're going to rush towards you to try to be like, there's probably going to be a lot of drama coming, and they're not able to find you because you're out doing your thing. You're glowing up, you're working, you're connecting with friends, maybe connecting with soulmates, like whatever thing. So maybe turning off your phone is the thing to do. Who knows? All right, anyways, thank you for your well wishes on driving safe. I hope that you have a wonderful day. And if I don't see you later, I will see you soon no matter what. So I'll catch you later, tribe.